Game one of the NBA Finals going down to the wire, and it's Jalen Brunson playing the role of hero in the fourth quarter, 13 of his 30 in the final frame, leading the Knicks to a 105-95 victory. They have now won 12 in a row this postseason, the last 7 via double digits. Consider they were down by as many as 14 in the third quarter. Jalen Brunson, OG Anunoby stepping up in the fourth quarter. And consider that Jalen Brunson injured his right knee in the first quarter, then appeared to injure his left ankle in the second quarter. And man, the former clutch player of the year coming up clutch for the Knicks in this one as they take it 105-95 to take a 1-0 series lead. Victor Wembanyama, 26 points, 12 rebounds, came on late in the second half. But as a team, San Antonio struggled 36% from the floor, their worst field goal percentage in any game this season. And now the Knicks steal the home court advantage here as they steal one on the road, again, coming back from 14 down to win by double digits. They outscored the Spurs 57-40 in the second half. All right, back here with the guys, John Gonzalez, Noah Buono. Noah, what we witnessed right there was an incredible game one. The Knicks are down by as many as 14. They rally to win by double digits. Just your instant reaction is what?
First of all, just what an unbelievable game to kickstart the finals. Like, we're sitting there on our toes with the Spurs going up, then the Knicks fighting back. Both the stars really struggling for most of this game. And then in the fourth quarter, both of them flipped the switch. Brunson got it going. I thought Wemby really changed his demeanor in that fourth quarter, and we saw him go on a run, hit that three-pointer, get the and one, made it look like he was going to put the Spurs back in it. But Jalen Brunson is a closer. This is what he does. And this is kind of what my concern was for this Spurs team, was those dry spells offensively of Victor Wembanyama isn't the focal point of your offense, and De'Aaron Fox struggles, Stephon Castle's a little inconsistent, and then you get a big punch from OG Anunoby to start that fourth quarter, and then Brunson kind of carried the way from there.
Unbelievable performance by Jalen Brunson on a night when he afterwards says, wasn't really my night.
It wasn't, though.
It wasn't his night because an injury to both legs in the first half, and he limps back to the locker room, and we're thinking this is it for him, and yet he just perseveres, right? He comes back out in the fourth quarter, and he was phenomenal tonight in the fourth quarter when they needed him the most. And to Noah's point about the Spurs, like the Spurs, you know, you have Victor Wembanyama, and the Knicks are +8 in the paint. Get in the paint. Throw down some dunks. They weren't doing that. And the Knicks, they overcame early on. They were getting blown off of the floor in transition. The Spurs were fantastic early on the fast break. That changed. That ended up being pretty even. Again, the Knicks beat them in the paint. And then, surprise, surprise, right? The best team in the NBA during the regular season and the playoffs in the fourth quarter, the New York Knicks. The best team at point differential in the fourth quarter during the regular season and the playoffs, the New York Knicks. Well, here they come again in the fourth quarter. They were down 13 or 14 points rather in the third quarter, and all of a sudden, doesn't matter that they weren't playing well because the fourth quarter comes around and it's their time and it's Jalen Brunson's time. And at some point, I should stop doubting them.
But one of the differences was that one turnover in the second half.
That too.
Like, just completely cleaned up the way they were playing from what they were doing in the first half. They think it was 12 points they gave up off their turnovers in the first half. And then that slowed the Spurs down because the Spurs are going to cough the ball up and the Knicks want to run in transition. But that's not what this game ended up being because of the way the Knicks just methodically put their imprint on it. And by the way, Karl Anthony Towns, we were talking about it the whole game. It might be one of my favorite Karl Anthony Towns games of all time. Maybe one of my favorite first halves from him ever. Like, the stat line wouldn't show it. Early quarter really is when he made his impact on the game with just bucket after bucket, the aggression, the assertion, finding guys on those slips to the rim. Like, Karl Anthony Towns was so integral. And I'm not gonna go on too crazy here with glazing all of the Knicks guys, but Josh Hart. Unbelievable stat line. John Gonzalez. 3 points, 15 rebounds, 6 assists, 4 steals, 1 block. What is that?
It's awesome.
That's Josh Hart. That's Josh Hart.
That's how they win this game. Without Josh Hart, they don't win this game.
100%. I'm saying, what is that in the sense of just the amalgamation of everything he gave you was so important.
It was awesome.
All by having 3 points.
And he was in foul trouble early.
Yeah,
and he just
7
comes
minutes.
back and keeps chipping away. And he, this is one of those Josh Hart nights where he couldn't shoot and you didn't want him to, but it's okay because he's doing everything else.
You talk about how the Knicks were able to come back. And Jalen Brunson was asked post-game, what was it in that third quarter? You're down by 14. And he said something that they've been saying all season. It's their culture. It's their chemistry. They find a way to win games. We saw that in the Eastern Conference Finals in Game 1. They're down by 22 to the Cavaliers in the fourth quarter. Nobody's going to win that game, right? The Knicks did. The Knicks won this game down 14. I was watching in the green room. I said, hey, if they go down by 15, they're going to lose this game. They only went down by 14, and they won. So I was off the hook. But you know what I'm saying? Like, this Knicks team, and I know it's only one game, kind of showing you how special they are, Noah.
Well, I believe in the pregame I said to you both, I refuse to pick against a team that has average margin of victory of 23 points per game this postseason and has rattled off 11 straight wins, now 12. Even though they had the 9 days of rest, I still felt strongly about they came out through the first punch. They had a really slow first half for the most part after that with the two different Jalen Brunson injuries. They really didn't know if he was going to come back in the game. But then the third quarter, they go down 14. Really bad start to the third quarter, too, to be completely honest. And from like around the 6-minute mark of the third quarter throughout the rest of the game, they flipped the switch, and they looked like the team the New York Knicks were in the last 6.5 minutes versus the Cleveland Cavaliers, and the team that's been winning by 23 points per game in this postseason.
What we saw from Victor Wembanyama in this game, it was good late, right? But something that we saw, we're watching the game, he's settling for jump shots, not going to the rim. He ends up going to the rim later in this game. That's where he's most effective. But a lot of times he's settling for jump shots, and I'm not sure why.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about this as we're watching the game, that it makes very little sense how he's starting this game. And that's not just this game. It's been much of the postseason where all of a sudden, he's catching it elbow out, he's taking three-pointers, he's settling for jump shots. And we saw as the game continued where he was getting into the paint and throwing down dunks. And that's what you want to see. He is absolutely dominant at the rim, but it makes very little sense to me that a guy who is that dominant at the rim, who is 7'4", that the Spurs end up losing the battle in the paint by 8 points to the Knicks. I mean, he should be going downhill consistently. And tonight, not an efficient night from him. 6 for 21 from the floor. I mean, here's the other thing. When he gets into the paint, a couple of different things can happen. One, he can score the ball. Two, he could have a foul on Karl Anthony Towns, who was guarding him. And by the way, you were absolutely right about it. Karl Anthony Towns had a great game tonight. One of his better efforts. He was physical. He wanted the defensive assignment against Victor Wembanyama.
I think he embraced every part of his matchup.
He embraced the entire thing,
defense.
Absolutely. But Victor Wembanyama is still a better player and should know that if he's getting into the paint, throwing down those dunks, that can get your offense going. And too often tonight he settled, and it wasn't until too late in the fourth quarter that he decided, oh, right, I can do that. And by then it was over.
I think the notion about Wemby, staying too far out, and we harped on it the whole game, is you'll hear the counter argument of, well, it takes a lot of energy and effort to go rim to rim when you're under the rim defensively and you run 94 feet, and now you're expected to put your head under the rim on the block and then run to set a ball screen and then roll back to the rim. It exerts a lot of energy. The point is, though, I think it was late in the third quarter, they ran a low cross screen block to block. They had him curl off of it, low catch, and I joked with you. I said, somehow he caught on the block and still almost took a beyond foul line extended jump shot. Yeah. And that's the Knicks doing a good job pushing him out of there and bringing that physicality. Mitchell Robinson, Karl Anthony Towns. But ultimately, tired or not, the advantage for the Spurs is when he is within 8 feet of the rim. He's not Kevin Durant. He's a great shooter, but he's not Kevin Durant. And we saw that tonight. We were joking, hey, and the way Wemby's shooting tonight, I'm living and dying with him shooting a three. Now, he made that one in the fourth quarter. It was a big deal. But what got him rolling? He was at the foul line a lot because of some careless Knicks turnovers. There are some careless Knicks personal fouls. And then the fourth quarter, he had that and one. He had another play at the rim. And I think that's where Wemby is at his best and where he puts so much pressure on the Knicks defense. And he didn't do that for most of the game tonight.
You get into the paint, you can either score the ball, or if you get fouled, that's a foul on the opposition. And also, he's almost automatic at the line. And it makes, look, part of it is him. Part of it is the shot diet. There's no doubt about it. But part of it is the Knicks made it really hard for all of them to touch paint tonight.
Who disappointed you the most from the Spurs in Game 1? Several players?
I want to say De'Aaron Fox,
There's one guy.
But I don't think I'm disappointed by him the most because I think I expected this from him. He's just been struggling. He hasn't been able to find his rhythm offensively. He's really relying on that downhill drive, a spin back around 8 feet, trying to lean into that mid-range jumper. He had a really nice play at the end of the first half when he pickpocketed Jalen Brunson. He went from up 2 to up 4.
Say his name.
Then they got the 3. Oh, whose name?
Say his name, the player.
Jalen Brunson?
That disappointed you.
Oh.
I don't know. I think I would have to go De'Aaron Fox.
Right, there we go. That's what you're talking about.
But I just because I expected it, I just feel like I'm not that disappointed. I just expected it.
They go and get De'Aaron Fox because they think they need a lead guard, right? And he's been phenomenal. He's an all-star. He's a really good player. But since the ankle injury, where he missed the beginning of the Cavaliers series, he hasn't really quite looked like himself. Now, I don't know if that's an excuse or if he's just not playing well or whatever, but De'Aaron Fox is supposed to be your 1A. He wasn't 1A tonight. He wasn't 2. He wasn't 3. He goes, 3 for 13 and 0 for 4. He was a liability. And talk about not being able to get into the paint. De'Aaron Fox is one of the quickest players in the NBA. You're talking about frontline speed. De'Aaron Fox is at the top of your list. And you're talking about shiftability, being able to go side to side, get into the paint against most teams. Not tonight. And so, look, when I say that he's supposed to be the 1A, well, the 1As are Stephon Castle, Dylan Harper. Tonight, when you needed a big bucket and some rebounds, Julian Champagnie. Devin Vassell, I thought, maybe he didn't score the ball well tonight, but he did a whole bunch of other things. We've gone almost through the entire roster, and then we get to De'Aaron Fox in a game 1 at home against the Knicks, who are rolling and who have now won 12 in a row. That's a bad effort from him.
I just think I think he's downplaying the injury to a point where that's why I wasn't so convicted that he was a disappointment, because he just hasn't been good for a majority of this postseason.
But they need him to win
There's
this
no doubt that
series.
they need him, and they need that ball handling and the playmaking, which is why I've been advocating for De'Aaron Fox. Less 8-foot jump shots off a spin pivot back on your drive, and more playmaking for the rest of your team. Can you drive to the paint, collapse 3, kick to Champagnie, kick to Vassell, find corner shooters? He's not doing that. What do you have? He had 5 assists tonight, 3 turnovers, and he's 3 of 13. He didn't even have double-digit points. I just don't think that with him in the starting lineup and minimal bench production.
So is there a situation where you might plug Dylan Harper in that role? I know they're not playing the same position, but you know what I'm saying here? When you're getting the production that you're getting from Dylan Harper, and the rookie's not afraid at all.
Dylan Harper is fantastic, and he's a great change of pace. The good thing about De'Aaron Fox is that when De'Aaron Fox does have the ball, and when he is playing playmaker and distributor, the turnovers go down. Remember at the beginning of the Cavs series when you didn't have De'Aaron Fox and Stephon Castle had the ball in his hands, and it was a nightmare.
Yes.
Stephon Castle is fantastic, but right now in his stage in development, you don't want him being the primary playmaker. Well, then you go to the bench. Okay, are you really going to elevate Dylan Harper? Because he's essentially your lone bench player right now.
Yeah.
Mitch Johnson in this game decided we're shrinking the rotation.
We're going bailed on Keldon, and he bailed on Carter.
Bailed on basically everybody, decided that everybody not named Dylan Harper was basically going to be a change of pace to just give a couple of minutes rest to all of the main guys. So you're into a 6-man rotation now. I don't think that you switch De'Aaron Fox now. In Game 2, what will be Game 2 on Friday in San Antonio of the NBA Finals. I think you just have to do exactly what Noah was saying. Look, we don't need those get in the paint, turn around, step back jumpers that are bad anyway. He's not a great shooter. He's like a 31% three-point shooter as it is. You don't want him taking those, and you don't want him taking those turnarounds in the paint. What you do want him doing is handling the ball, because he's really good at that, and he's careful.
Think about him getting downhill in the 2-man game that they were running with him and Victor Wembanyama in the Minnesota series. Where is that? Where is the middle ball screen with Wemby at the top of the key, setting it for Fox? Pick a side. You can go down the screen. You can reject the screen, and Wemby rolls to the basket. How many of those did we get tonight? Under 5, under 3 maybe. And I think that with De'Aaron Fox, if the ankle's that hobbled, hey, man, you're a point guard first. I know you're a scoring combo guard, but you're a point guard. Point guards distribute the ball, and I think that he and the Spurs would be served much better if he embraced that as a playmaker.
Knicks take a 1-0 series lead, 12 straight wins this postseason, the last 7 coming by double digits. And if you're curious, teams who win Game 1 of the NBA Finals win the NBA title 70% of the time. So odds in the favor of the New York Knicks, looking to win their first championship since 1973 and 3rd in franchise history. My goodness, the comeback Knicks. Do not doubt them, John Gonzalez. They were down by as many as 22 to the Cavaliers.